It is not fair for him to be in that weight class. They need to calibrate them scales. We don't know how he makes that weight. All stuff. There is some kind of trickery going on in boxing that nobody wants to talk about.
Ooh, he had beaten once before in a controversial fight where Tszyu was bleeding very badly. And before he fought him in a rematch, Tszyu had been knocked out. So he beats Tszyu, and then he beats, Thurman, who's been very inactive, moved up in weight, and was a huge underdog for those reasons.
Do you want to be undisputed, or what's your ultimate goal in the ring?
There was an idea of becoming undisputed at one time, but as of right now, it's so much politics. Look with the WB. I was already unified champion, but all these things that don't line up with us, you can't. It's a business as well. So if you're not going to work with me, I can't really work with you either. So
boxing insiders accuse Sebastian Fundora of unfair tactics in his bout with Keith Thurman. Rolly Romero insists Fundora doesn't belong in that weight class, claiming hidden trickery in boxing that few dare to acknowledge, sparking heated debate across.
What do you think about the sustained beatings that he passes out? When he fights, it's the way he gets on top of people and just destroys them.
Man, he over there trying to chop every head off. I'm telling you like this, man. I sit there, man. I just look. I'm like, there's no way. Like you gotta go over there and just like boom, right on the top like that, right? Hope for the best,
A fan voiced strong criticism on X, stating, Fundora is an unfair cheat code. If everyone from 154 ducked him, I wouldn't blame them. He shouldn't be allowed to fight at this weight with that height, sparking a heated boxing debate. Keith Thurman's face was brutally injured, raising suspicions that normal gloves and fighter power couldn't cause such damage. Some suspect Fundora's gloves were tampered with. Despite injuries, Thurman disliked the referee's decision to stop the fight.
Conditioning, he's a volume puncher, and I think it's just that little bit of a press that he was putting on that, let that referee feel, the way that he felt to jump in. But, he was pressing, he was opening up, he was starting to throw wide. And that's where, the veteran has an opportunity to shine. I'm telling you, man, the fans were loving it. The action was getting real. There was no need to just stop it right then and right there, But, once again, I'm not that beat up. I can fight more, and we'll see what happens, man. But it was a good fight. I wanted a great fight, and I think if it went just a few more minutes, something great would happen. Or maybe I would have got dropped, and then, at the end of the day, I can...
Fender reportedly avoids pursuing undisputed status, believing other sanctioning bodies won't protect him as the WBC does. That's why he remains committed to the WBC, prioritizing its backing over broader championship ambitions.
I'm comfy with the WBC. I still think I'm recognized as the best. I think I'm the best. So, let's just make...
This fan said on X, yeah, for real. Fur is a hater. He thinks sounding all polite and talking slow means people can't see this fraudulent BS, fueling heated criticism within boxing circles. Meanwhile, Fundora insists his success stems from relentless preparation, explaining he trained hard since August, which allowed him to deliver such an incredible performance inside the ring against Thurman.
Performance, of course. I think it was a great performance. Just a lot of training in this camp. We've been training for him since August of last year. So, it was unfortunate that we couldn't fight in October, but we stay training. We stay getting ready for this former Hall of Famer and show tonight. I take my hat off to Keith. Of course, he's a great former champion. Like I said, a future Hall of Famer for sure. But no, we trained very hard for this fight, and we made sure that we crossed our T's and dotted our I's, so that performance from him wouldn't be nothing crazy for us to handle. I'm very comfortable with the WBC. I've been saying this over and over again. I'll fight these guys, I'll unify with these guys, but I'll probably drop the belt right after.
Bernie the boxer criticized Fundora's choice, saying he should have fought someone else. With many options available, Bernie believes Fundora picked Keith Thurman, knowing the mismatch favored him, making the difference far too overwhelming.
Yes. Bludgeoned, battered, bruised, didn't knock him down, but did everything else. Man, talk to us about the matchup.
Keith Thurman had a hill to climb. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing with Fundora. And man, that layoff didn't help him. Man, like I was just telling my boy Ramon, I was thinking he should have fought old boy first. Should have fought Charlo first. I would like to see that first. Maybe scrap the whole thing. You know, they tried to make this thing twice and it didn't go. So I think they Fundora should have been held up. He should have been put with somebody else. Even though I think he hurt himself the second time. So the first time Keith Thurman hurt himself, then the second time, boom, and then old boy hurt himself. But it was a good fight, man. Keith Thurman, he showed his heart, he showed his guts. You know what I'm saying? He landed some shots in between, and you know.
The Fundora versus Keith Thurman cheating claims aren't new. Teddy Atlas reminded fans of Fundora's fight with Tim Tszyu, where Tszyu suffered a severe head wound and impaired vision. Many suspected Fundora's gloves or tactics then, too.
But before we go too crazy, remember the guys that he's beaten recently. He beat Costas, he beat, what's his name? Tszyu. He beat Tszyu, who he had beaten once before in a controversial fight where Tszyu was bleeding very badly. And before he fought him in a rematch, Tszyu had been knocked out. So he beats Tszyu, and then he beats, you know, Thurman, who's been very inactive, moved up in weight, and was a huge underdog for those reasons. So let him beat somebody, maybe a little bit of a higher level of thought before you.
Jose Benavidez Sr. sounded off on Fundora's TKO win over Thurman, stressing Fundora's youth and towering height advantage. He argued that Thurman's inactivity and current form made this matchup poor, highlighting the imbalance between the fighters.
I already kind of knew that, you know, Fundora super young right now, super tall. Then Keith Thurman, you know, at the end of the day, you know, he was a great fighter, he was a good fighter, but he had a lot of tough fights. But, you know, I thought Keith was going to give him a little bit of trouble, you know, and take him to deep waters and test him a little bit. But, you know, when Fundora threw the right hand the first time, he kind of got him, and, you know, that's when like, oh, man, you know, Fundora, I think it's too much from Fundora. Looked really good. He used his distance and body shots and straight punches and everything. I think, in my opinion, he looked really good. And Keith Thurman, you know, he tried. And it was a great stoppage, in my opinion. You know, it's good. You know, when they stopped the fight and I saw his face, I was like, damn, you know, it was pretty.
A boxing fan posted on X, Ruthless Fura, was mismatched before and proved to be even worse during the fight. A sharp critique that echoes growing frustration over the bout's perceived imbalance. Chris Algieri broke down Sebastian Fundora's TKO win over Keith Thurman with sharp analysis. He emphasized Fundora's unique ability to land short uppercuts from long range, describing him as a wildly dangerous puzzle that Thurman simply couldn't solve. Algieri noted Thurman's decline, pointing out his inactivity, slower legs, and inability to handle Fundora's 80-inch reach. He recalled Fundora's early career when he looked awkward and uncoordinated, but highlighted how he has matured into a confident fighter who now uses his jab effectively, throwing 44 per round in this bout. Algieri stressed that Fender barely needed to shift gears, sticking behind his jab and landing concise power shots until the fight was stopped.
You know, he throws a rear uppercut from long range. He throws a lead uppercut from mid range. So he's a wildly dangerous puzzle to figure out. And Keith had no answer. And I guess in hindsight, that's probably not that surprising. Keith was not a 54-pounder. But yeah, it was underwhelming, I should say.
I expected a little more from Keith. Talks the big game, you know, had that illustrious run at 147, but ultimately, like I said, Father Time over one time. Father Time gets everybody, he just looks slow, the legs weren't there, and also you're fighting a guy, like you said, with the 80-inch reach, and is also knows how to use it now. That's what we're seeing from Fundora, is first couple fights of his career.
While Algieri acknowledged Fundora's growth, he also argued that Thurman was atrocious and didn't truly fight, making the matchup underwhelming. He suggested that Fender's performance, though dominant, didn't reveal much news since Thurman was past his prime. Algieri concluded that Fundora at 28 is entering his prime and must now face elite-level opponents at 154 pounds, naming fighters like Virgil Ortiz or Jaron Boots Ennis as the real tests. In his view, Fundora has evolved from a tall, awkward prospect into a dangerous contender. But the boxing world needs to see him against top-tier competition to truly measure his greatness.